Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hearties! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, joined by my co-host, Brennan, and we are here today to talk about When Calls the Heart, Season 12, Episode 7, Dance the Night Away.
It was written by Derek Thompson, directed by Kristen Lehman. Elizabeth and Nathan's date night unexpectedly leads to an undercover operation at a glamorous party. Lucas and Edie grow closer over cards, and Rosemary holds auditions for a play.
What were your first impressions on this episode?
Oh, Nicole, this truly was my favorite episode ever out of the whole series
Wow.
so far. It was so good. It had everything I think we had been wanting and dreaming of and more. It was my favorite episode ever.
That's high praise.
What about you?
I definitely think it's one of the best they've ever done. It's most likely in my top 10, maybe my top 5, but that's a really tough call.
Top 10 or top 5 are really good though.
Yeah. My top 3, I did a top 10 episodes of the show before season 10
hmm
episode.
hmm
And I think I said my number 1 was My Heart Will Go On. So that's Jack's proposal and him going to the Northern Territories. My number 2, I think, was A Telling Silence, which was Rosaline in the mine. And
Oh, that's such a good one.
season 1. And then I think number 3 was the season 3 finale with Jack getting pneumonia.
That was a good one.
Mhm.
Those are all so good. Yes.
I think number 2 and 3 might have been reversed. So it might have been the season 3 finale is 2, and then A
Mhm.
Telling Silence is 3. But I'm almost certain that that was my top 3.
Those are good ones. Those are really, really good ones for sure. Yes. Good choice.
Yes, but this was one of the best I think they've ever
Mhm.
done.
For sure.
Yes.
So good. Yes.
Yeah. And props to first time When Calls the Heart director Kristen Lehman. She did a great job.
Oh, she did a fantastic job. It's hard to believe that was her
Yeah.
first episode of the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She has done a lot of work on Heartland. That's where I know her as a director.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But anyway, going to Lucas Eady and the National Park. What did you think about this storyline in this episode?
Hmm. Well, I really liked how, in a way, Lucas is kind of also working with Allie and Oliver now. You know, they present their new map and new idea for how the cattle can cross without disturbing the stream or the salmon. And then he brings it to Edie, of course. And so I like how, in a way, the four of them are kind of indirectly working together. And it sounds to me like a great idea and that it could work.
Oh,
So I'm kind of hoping it does.
yeah, me too.
What did you
And
think?
I loved the scene with Lucas meeting with Oliver and Allie when they tell him about the plan they came up with, which is how everyone can coexist
hmm
with one another.
Yes, I really liked that scene too. And I even liked how Lucas just completely welcomed them in
Yeah.
because Edwin, I don't really like how he called them children.
No.
And then Lucas kind of saves it. He says, like, oh, well, I like kids. And it's like, okay, they're kind of young adults now. They're not just children anyway. But yes, I loved how he just welcomed them into his office and heard them and looked at their plan and their new map.
Yes. And I love how he said, you two make a good team.
Yes, and they do. We agree, Lucas.
We definitely do. Yes.
Definitely do. Oh, and I like the little sorry, speaking of Allie and Oliver, when they kind of kept giving each other little glances in the office and they did that little shoulder bump.
Oh, that was cute.
That
Yeah.
was adorable.
Yes. So Lucas and Edie, that first scene, Lucas is telling Edie what he discussed with Oliver and Allie, and then Edie fiddles with her ring finger. Interesting.
Mhm. Mhm.
And she mentions that he'll have to draft a proper proposal before they'll consider it an alternative option. And then
Mhm.
the accidental hand touch.
Mhm. Oh boy, what's happening?
The sparks.
Oh,
Yeah.
there are definitely sparks. And I liked how it seems like she liked it. It seemed like she was just saying, well, we need to maybe make this a little bit more professional. But it sounds like she was liking the idea and yeah, and then that little hand touch was accidental, but it happened and you know, we know what has happened when other characters have had a little hand touch.
Yes, like Nathan and Elizabeth.
Nathan and Elizabeth for sure, even Ned and Florence.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Lucas and Edie's talk over cards. This was an
Mhm.
interesting scene. They're talking about her tail, which is fiddling with her ring finger.
Mhm.
She wants him to drop the proposal and pretend like he never heard about this other pasture,
Mm.
since he'd be saving a lot of people from a lot of trouble, including himself. Hmm.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, quite a bit of a change of how she was in the cafe as far as what she thought.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, especially because she mentions she won't share where, her comments are coming from because of attorney-client privilege.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Seems like she is keeping her cards
Mm-hmm.
close to the vest. Maybe her physical cards during the game, but also her self professionally and maybe emotionally as well.
Yeah, and I have a thought in a second when we get to the mystery
Hmm.
with Nathan slash Danny and Toddy's
Yeah.
talk.
Ooh, yes. I can't wait to hear that.
There's been some predictions or a prediction going around
Hmm.
connecting Edie to what Nathan and Toddy were talking about.
Yeah. Yes, there have been. And I think you and I might be thinking along the same way as far as prediction, because if we're thinking the same, I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
anyway, going to the mystery, Nathan, Bill, and Rosemary. Now I'll get to the end of the scene when we talk about the theater because that was hilarious.
Hmm.
But they're talking about Georgie's report and how two double-headed eagles showed up in Amsterdam at a rare coin and stamp dealer's showroom. The Dutch police said they couldn't get the guy to admit how they got there. And this still doesn't answer where the Garrison gang hid the rest of the gold. And Rosemary believes they should sponsor a valley-wide treasure hunt. But Bill's like, no, too much publicity. Yeah,
Although that I would like to see that. I think that could be fun.
yeah. Although we do know that there is some hunting going on in the finale,
We sure do. Yep.
according to the synopsis.
So maybe we'll get an unofficial hunt.
Treasure hunt.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Nathan slash Danny and Toddy's talk
Hmm.
at the party,
Hmm.
towards the end. He noticed, Toddy that is, that when they played cards in Union City, that he always bets big even when he had nothing. And it tells him that he has confidence and guts. Toddy shows him the 24 karat gold pocket watch with the double-headed eagle, and a two-bit rancher got his hands on a crate of them, but died a year ago. And then, Nathan is like, where is this guy? And he
Hmm.
says, one of the valleys past Benson Hills. Hmm.
Mm. And you can see when Toddy is talking to Nathan and the camera is on Nathan, you can see Nathan's wheels turning and his eyes kind of get a little wider when Toddy mentions this valley, like, oh, I think I know the valley he's talking about, and I think he's talking about Hope Valley.
Yeah.
But you can see Nathan is really thinking about everything he's saying, and
Yes.
he's getting back into that Mountie mode, but is still undercover, so he has to kind of just play dumb, but
Yeah.
you can see his wheels are turning.
Yeah. So my thoughts is, could that two-bit rancher be Edie's uncle?
That's what I think too, girl. I am right there with you. I just think who else would it be? It seems to match up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We will see.
We will see. I'm looking forward to finding out
So,
more.
yes. And that wraps up the mystery in this episode. Well, except for Nathan and Elizabeth going undercover, but we don't really hear a lot about
Mm,
the case in all the other scenes.
mm. I really liked the scene when Bill and Rosemary and Nathan are in Bill's office and Rosemary and Bill are talking. Nathan's expressions during that conversation are so hilarious. I
I
just
agree.
like to watch him when they're talking because
Yeah,
his expressions are just so great.
yeah, I agree. So the theater, Ava, Fiona,
Mhm,
and the Canfields. Now the Canfields, Joseph's scene was related to the theater, but I still added that in there. So Lee, Rosemary, and Mike, we hear that Ava is still running up her tab at the hotel,
mhm, mhm,
but she's good for business and the customers seem to like her.
mhm.
She heard from her parents and they're extending their trip to see the Northern Lights in Norway. And,
Hmm.
Ava starts singing and she gets to the last verse or the last line in the song. And then Rosemary is like, "No, Ava, we don't got fun."
It's so funny watching Rosemary's reactions to her because it seems like she cannot stand this girl. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And then they talk about the audition flyers for the play.
Hmm.
Rosemary runs off to try to avoid Ava by
Hmm.
giving out the flyers.
Hmm.
Lee walks off, and Elizabeth comes in and he gives her the tickets that he got from a friend for the movie.
Hmm.
And Mike is over there doing something with the lamp. I don't know what he's doing.
That was so funny. He's trying to hide, but you can still so clearly see him. It's just such a Hickam thing to do. I That was hilarious.
Yeah. Can we talk about Mike's audition for the play? That was,
That was great. It was so entertaining. He
yeah,
really got into it.
yeah. And then there
Yeah.
was encouragement and Rosemary telling Elizabeth that it was serviceable. Algernon is supposed to be swashbuckling and rebellious, debonair and dazzling.
And that's not Hickam?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was fun. And
Yeah.
I liked how Elizabeth was there watching too, because her
Yeah.
expressions were entertaining.
Yes. And then Bill unintentionally auditioning, when Rosemary is saying how she found out that in the past he worked on an espionage case with the British Colonial Office and posed as the UK embassy official. And he does his accent when he unintentionally auditions. And, she's like, "That's great. The swashbuckling panache, the confident joie de vivre, the masculine yet sensitive charmer."
That was so good. And I love how Bill just did that accent off the cuff. He just started talking that way. And he was great at it. And I love when he's by himself once
Yes,
Rosemary and Nathan leave, he just starts talking to himself in that accent. That was so great.
I was cracking up. with that.
I was too. It's fun to see Bill loosen up like that.
Yeah.
It, he has a good sense of humor.
Nice. Going to this scene with Joseph and Henry, I loved that and
Mhm.
hearing Viv sing. It was great.
Oh, Viv singing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Who knew? He has an amazing voice. That was awesome.
Yes. Can we get more,
Yeah.
please?
Can we please get more? Please get more. Viv, we loved it. Why you didn't sing in Kansas City is beyond me. Next
Yeah.
time, next time.
Yeah. And the friendship we didn't know we needed.
Oh, Henry and Joseph is so good. And that was a great scene for Henry, too. Even though it was quick, he was just so smiley.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, they're talking about the play. You know,
Hmm.
Joseph is helping, I think, build the sets, and
Hmm.
Henry joining the choir. And
Hmm.
Henry's like, no, you don't want to
Hmm.
hear me sing.
I love how he kind of makes fun of himself. He says something like, I don't think my singing has ever brought someone, closer to God, or
Yeah.
yeah, I just like how he just kind of laughs at himself. And
So the play practice with Ned, Bill, Lee, Mike, and Ava, and of course Rosemary, because she is putting the play on, and
Mhm.
that was hilarious. And we find out that Ava was in an amateur production at her boarding school in Maryland, and she wants to help out. And Rosemary puts her in charge of props for rehearsal.
That was so funny. And just for Rosemary, you can tell she's kind of trying to put her in her place and give her something that just wouldn't put Ava in the spotlight. And of course, Ava's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." But it's almost like I'm sure for Rosemary, it's like, "Oh my goodness, what can't this woman do?" Of course, she's been in this play and she knows all the lines,
Yes.
and it's fun. It is fun to see Rosemary putting on a play because we
Yeah.
know she's been wanting to do this since she came to town. So it's fun that they are giving her this story finally.
Rosemary is finally getting her theater in a way.
And yeah, in a way, yes. Yay.
The Hope Valley Players, I think is what she called it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I can't remember if it's based in Charleston and if the studio is still open. I think it is, but there is a company called the Footlight Players.
Oh, that's fun.
The theater company.
Oh, I like that name. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yes.
I like when communities have local theater groups like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hmm.
I wasn't a part of that one when I was younger, but I did take theater classes with the Dock Street Theater and Charleston Stage.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember what show you did?
Um, oh my gosh. I know I was in a couple, but the one I can remember the most is Caps for Sale. It was based on the book about the monkey with the hats.
I love that book.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. I didn't
Yeah.
know that it could be a play. That's adorable.
Yes. I don't remember what part I was, but yeah, that was one of the productions we did.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that book. I read that book all the time.
Yes, it was fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah. We might have done Romeo and Juliet too, maybe. I can't remember.
Classic.
But
Yes.
Caps for Sale is the one that stands out that I can remember.
Oh, that's so fun.
I always enjoyed the drama classes, and I did take drama in sixth, seventh, and maybe eighth. And I know I took it in ninth grade.
Mm,
And in ninth grade, I loved my ninth grade drama class.
mm,
At that time, I was in an all girls school.
mm.
So it was kind of funny. The play that we put on, I think, towards the end of the year, because the girls had to play male parts. It was
Mm.
still fun. We we performed. or our play that we did was one act from the book The Crucible
Ah, nice.
about the Salem witch trials.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Luckily, I think I had a female part, so I didn't have to play a guy.
Perfect. You're like, oh, okay, what a relief.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
so fun. I love that. Yeah, I took a drama class in high school and I loved it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think in the play, my part was Elizabeth Proctor, I think.
Oh, good one. You got to
Uh,
play an Elizabeth.
yeah.
That's
Yes.
fun.
Yes. And there is a movie
hmm
about the Crucible too. So,
hmm Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's been a while, but
uh,
yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis, Winona Ryder. Yeah.
Mm. Great cast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great cast. But anyway, we have gone down a theater rabbit hole.
That's okay. We
Yeah.
love the theater.
Yes. One of my favorite scenes, I think, in this episode was the one with Lee and Rosemary at home when they're talking about the play rehearsals and Ava. And then Lee gives his encouragement and support, and he says, "No one is my Rosie."
Oh, that was really sweet. And
Yeah.
we got a couple sweet kisses and I like that we got a scene like that. I do like seeing them just at home together talking about their day. And it was so hilarious when Rosemary called Ava dramatic.
Yeah.
And she's just calling everybody dramatic this season. It's awesome.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
Lee's expressions when she was talking, he's kind of like, and she's like, I know, don't say it.
Yes. Yep. Oh my goodness. What did you think about the scene with just her at home when she's looking at old theater memorabilia?
Hmm. Yeah, I thought it was sentimental for her, of course. I almost I almost still wonder if she is looking at that just fondly of, oh, these are memories of my theater life and it's fun to look back, or if she was looking at it almost, oh, that's still something I would love
Yeah.
to do, or that's still a dream that I have.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was a great scene. I
hmm
have the same thoughts. Yeah.
hmm
And then we get to Fiona and May.
hmm
They're sweet, I'm not gonna lie.
I love that we are getting so much Fiona, and I just am so happy that Kayla has been in this season so much. That's just such a wonderful, unexpected surprise. I knew she would be in it a little bit, but I just really love how much Fiona we are getting, and that scene was great. I agree. I loved it.
Yeah. They talk about happily ever after, and
Mm-hmm.
May says, "You have a spark, and I think you should follow it." And then Fiona
Mm-hmm.
gets the call from Mr. Weaver, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the sale of the salon is final.
Mm. That was sad. That was bittersweet because when I watched that scene, I think back to season 8 when
Yeah.
she was fixing it up and she was so excited and putting the sign up and having her first customers. And gosh, it's just hard to believe that she's selling it already. And I really do like and appreciate the friendship between her and May because I remember back in season 10 it was Fiona that really was encouraging May to embrace who she was. And now May is doing that for Fiona. And so I really appreciate just that they do that for each other. And I completely agree. Fiona is fantastic. She absolutely does have a spark.
Yeah.
And I hope she's in more of the season. I think she will be, but I hope she's in the whole rest of the season.
Me too. Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
So, moving on to the Grants and the Thorntons. So much of them in this episode. And
Oh, so good. So much. You're right. So much, which
so,
we are so in love with,
yes.
obviously.
The journal entry. Now, I know a lot of people weren't so wild about the journal entry. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a nice journal entry.
Mhm.
We see them horseback riding.
We got the coffee date.
Yes. And, she's talking about her students with the clip of Emily, Opal, and Angela, and then Oliver
Mhm.
and Allie.
Mhm.
And then we find out that Lee surprised Rosemary with a trip to see a performance of The Importance of Being Earnest.
Mhm.
Now she wants to put on her own production, which she will
Mhm.
direct, as well as produce and star in, which we already talked about the theater.
Mhm.
With Fiona's encouragement, Elizabeth wrote a guide to her new
Mhm.
curriculum so she can send it to publishers and other educators.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yay!
Yay. And
Uh,
I liked that Fiona was in her house. That's so
Me too.
fun.
That's the first
Yeah.
time we've seen her in her house.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yes. And then Elizabeth says, as for Nathan and me, it all feels new and exciting. There's so much we still don't know about one another and so much more to discover. We're
Mhm.
enjoying every moment together, excited for all that's to come. I know
Mhm.
there's been a lot of talk about that line or those lines. I don't think it was insinuating that they don't know each other or that there won't potentially be a marriage this season. I don't think it was saying that at all.
No, I truly don't think so either. And even the way she was talking about them, her voice just sounds so light and happy. And I liked how when she was talking, it shows them
Yeah.
on their date and it shows them leaning in for that kiss. And I took it as, I agree. I took it as, yeah, there's still more that they don't know about each other. Because even for me, and maybe I can speak for all of us as far as Nathan, there's more that I want to know about him, whether we see it on screen or not. I want to know, okay, has Nathan ever had a past love or relationship? And I want to know more about his childhood and what is his relationship right now like with Archie and his mom. And so for me, I kind of took it as, yeah, there's way more about Nathan I want to know. And I'm sure there's, more we don't know about Elizabeth even after all these years. But I took it as she's looking forward to knowing and learning more about each other. And
Yeah.
she even said they're very happy and they're excited for what's to come and left us with a lot of hope.
Yes, I think so too. And I've never been married, but I know that even married couples, they continue to learn more about each other.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's so true. That just comes with growing older together and as life moves and flows. And, as people, I think we are continually changing and growing. And there's always something new to learn about each other and even ourselves. I
Yeah.
agree.
And the way he pulled the blanket in to kiss her, that was,
Oh, Nicole, that was so sweet. And I love how he is watching her take a sip of her coffee and waiting for her to be done with her sip. And then as soon as she puts her mug down, he's like, "Girl, come here."
yes, come on.
He is just lip staring and cannot wait to give her that kiss. It's so good.
So cute.
I'm
Yes.
so glad we got to see it. I'm just so glad.
Yes.
Yes.
I just wish it was a little bit longer.
Of course, I wish it was a little bit
Yeah.
longer. Me too. Yes.
Uh,
And I really loved how they rode through um, the field after Nathan said that he loved her.
yeah.
And, I know it's kind of known as Elizabeth's afraid ride, I guess you can say, but it's been fixed. Now
It's
they're now they're riding there together.
yes. Nathan and Elizabeth at her row house. That was a
Oh,
dream.
so good. Yes, let's talk about that too, please.
So she planned a date night in Union City to see the
Mm-hmm.
new Buster Keaton film,
Mm-hmm.
and then the tickling and the flirting. That was
Oh, it's So good. And
What's going on?
again,
What's going on? What's going on?
was oh my goodness, Nathan just continues to be just such a romantic, flirty partner. And he is just full of these just love surprises. He's
Yeah.
just such a complete love bug.
Yes.
I just love that he did that. It just was so cute.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then,
love how excited Elizabeth was to give
yeah.
him this date. It just was
Yeah.
so adorable, and she loves him so much, and he does too. But it's I love seeing these gestures from her.
Yeah, me too. And then I love how he goes in for the kiss. That was adorable.
Oh, the face grab kiss, so adorable, and the way he ran to the door. He is so excited.
Yeah. Just briefly, because I chuckled at Ned's line. Elizabeth and Fiona in the mercantile, when she's
Mm-hmm.
when they're talking about her curriculum guide, and Elizabeth leaves, and as she's leaving, Fiona says, "Sleep and the net will appear," which is a quote from her mom. And Ned says, "Was your mother in the circus?"
Ned.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I like that line. And
And then let's just talk about Nathan and Elizabeth in Union City.
yes, let's talk about it.
First the talk and the dance outside the theater.
Oh,
You made me love you.
oh, I just melt. Every time I watch that scene, I melt because Elizabeth is, she is just Nathan's whole world. I mean, I know Allie is too, but when they're together and when he is with her, she is just all that he sees. And I just love how he calls her incredible. And he just has no problem just sweeping her off her feet in the middle of the street and just starts dancing and singing to her. And oh, he's
Yeah,
so romantic. I love it.
me too. And then they see Toddy and they meet his wife, Trudy. And I
Mm-hmm.
love how Nathan's protective instincts kick
Mm-hmm.
in that whole interaction.
Yes, I just love how he immediately is like, "Call me Danny." And
Oh, yep.
I love how when he starts talking to Toddy, his voice immediately goes into Danny voice and it gets a little lower, a little gruffer, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I can't do it." But it's so funny. And
Yeah. And I love how, as Danny, he called her darling. That was
that was so sweet. I hope that continues between the two of them.
me too.
And Elizabeth just is such a good sport and just such a good partner in that moment and is basically like, you know, yeah, let's go. And even is it before that? Remind me. She says, "Oh yeah, like I'll see you at home."
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes.
they're starting to say home for each other. Like, yeah, I'll see you at home.
Yes. Now they just need to make it official.
They just need to make it official. There was just just a little subtext right there. Just make it official.
So the party and all of those scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Look in their outfits. Nathan says, "These moving pictures, they don't have anything on you." Look who's talking, Danny. And then, she switches the ring to her ring finger and she says, "We're supposed to be married." And he says, "Yes." And then he follows up by saying, "We live in the city. We spend our summers by the lake, and your husband worships the ground that you walk on."
Oh, Nicole, that whole scene, we get a glance across the room, which so many of us were so happy we got that because that's what we were hoping for, that they would see each other in those beautiful, his,
Yeah,
they both look gorgeous. They both are so beautiful. So I'm
yeah,
so glad we got to see them see each other like that the first time. And I totally agree with you. Just the flirty marriage banter And I love how it was Elizabeth's idea. She's like, "Oh, and we're married?"
Yeah.
And just Nathan's sultry, whispery voice when he says her husband and she calls him handsome. And I just love how they just are so comfortable flirting with each other, even out in public and like just complimenting each other openly now.
Yeah. And then the hand rubbing that Nathan does that.
Oh, the famous hand rub. It's so adorable.
Yes. And then the dancing, the special effects in that scene.
Oh, stunning. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was just stunning the way it was, even shot from up high and then just kind of going around the room. And then that kaleidoscope,
Hmm. Yeah.
that kaleidoscope like filming was just gorgeous. I was watching the episode with Catherine and we both were like, okay, this is an edit in itself. They already did it for us.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Yes, I agree. And then Elizabeth slash Diane and Trudy, and then Nathan slash Danny and Toddy, they go off and they have their own conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
Trudy wants to know how they met. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
Nathan and Elizabeth, or Danny and Diane.
Mm-hmm.
And Diane says she bid on him at a bachelor's charity auction. And Elizabeth, this made me laugh when she pours her drink into the plant.
That was so cute.
And she's like,
Yeah. Erin has the best expressions. Oh my goodness.
she's the human emoji.
She is. Yes.
And then Nathan's story of how they met, high school sweethearts.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He's not sure she noticed him, but he noticed her from the audience as she
Mhm.
was on stage singing at the spring talent show to You Made Me Love You. Then just
Mm.
a few years later, she was at the auction, heard him singing the same song and joined in. And then Danny, slash Nathan,
Yeah.
says, the 5 happiest years of my life.
Oh,
And
which tracks, we've been saying it's been half a decade. So
yeah,
thank you, Nathan, for knowing that too.
yes, he claims that the wedding was 2 years ago, but he
Mhm.
started counting the moment he fell in love. Now, this, he wasn't joking about when he fell in love,
Mm-mm.
which
No.
was when she was kind to someone he cares a great deal about, Allie.
Oh, Oh, how much do we love that he said that moment? Because we all knew that, right? Going back to season 6, we remember watching and seeing that moment
Yeah.
when his feelings
Yes.
changed for her, when he really started falling for her. And so for him to say that was so affirming and validating for us.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth's face when he says that, the way she is looking at him.
Uh,
Oh, that was just a really sweet surprise. I love that he not only told Toddy and Trudy that, but he was telling that, to Elizabeth, Diane as well. And that was completely real.
yes. We finally get them singing, Kevin and Aaron. They did a great job.
Oh, they were stunning together. They sound so beautiful together and apart. Individually, they have beautiful voices. Together,
Yeah.
they just sound incredible. Every time I watch that scene, every time I watch them sing, I cry. I physically cry because it just makes me so happy. I watched the episode earlier and of course I started crying. Every time I watch, it just brings me to tears. It's so beautiful.
They did a fantastic job.
They did. They did. Oh, yes. What did you think of the song choice?
I thought it was great. It really
Mhm.
fit them.
Mhm. Yeah, me too. Me
And
too.
it does, in a way, call back to season one because Rosemary sang that song in season one. I think it was episode 12 in the saloon when she was trying to win Jack back.
Oh, she does. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, good memory, Nicole. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It's the scene when Jack is in the saloon, having a drink, and
Mm.
Rosemary's in there. She's playing the piano. She starts playing the song. Jack walks out, and I think he goes to sit on the steps of the Mountie office with Rip, and then she follows him out. Then have that talk on the steps.
Right. Yes. I'll have to go back and watch that
Yeah.
because you have a great memory. I totally forgot that was the song that Rosemary sang. That's a beautiful song. I love it.
Question, what do you think they did when they left the party?
Oh, you know, I honestly, I hope they did what they said they did and just got in a cab or a late train and went home because I don't like to think that we missed out on a sleepover.
Yeah.
So to make myself feel better, I
Yeah.
just go with nope, it hasn't happened yet. They just went home.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Pretty sure that the sleepover will be when Jack is sick.
That has always been my suspicion too.
Yeah.
Just because I see it as, you know, obviously I think, little Jack and Elizabeth are going to be at home and Nathan is not going to want to leave them. He's going
Mm-mm.
to stay by their side the whole time.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, the last scene in the episode, Elizabeth and Rosemary's talk over tea about how the undercover date went, the play, Ava, Rosemary starting Hope Valley, and then Elizabeth sending the curriculum. That was a great scene.
That was really, really sweet. I liked kind of that morning after, breakfast talk between them and with their, kids playing in the background. And that was really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that wraps up the episode, I think. Do you have any other thoughts before we start to conclude this episode?
Yeah. Just going back to the party, back to the dancing. The dancing was
Yeah.
fantastic. And I loved, again, that whole scene of seeing Elizabeth and Nathan, start to dance together. And I love that Elizabeth was the one who seemed to be getting into it first and kind of showing Nathan how to do it. And you can just see in his face, how he starts out, he's kind of watching himself and maybe a little nervous, but then he just gets this huge smile as he's dancing and really getting into it. And you can just see how much fun they both start having with it and how much fun they have dancing that way together. And oh, they are just fantastic dance partners. They just look so good. I just loved seeing them dance that way together.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. And I love, real quick, I loved how in this episode, it was almost like Elizabeth and Nathan like both did something for each other.
Mhm.
Because Elizabeth planned this romantic, movie theater date night, that Nathan went with her on. But then Elizabeth, did this for Nathan, kind of going undercover with him and going to this party with him. And so I loved how they both did something for each other on this date. They're just such a great team.
They definitely are.
Mhm.
Yes. So before we conclude, what's next? This week we have Rosemary's Play gets a new venue and a new cast.
Mhm.
Because apparently there are some people that come down with some kind of sickness.
Yep.
Oh,
I wonder where they get it from.
I don't know.
Hmm.
And then Elizabeth takes her curriculum to the airwaves. Faith helps a friend make a decision. Pretty sure that's Fiona.
I do too.
And then Lucas faces unexpected opposition, which should be interesting.
That'll be interesting. Yes.
Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Do you have any other thoughts before we say goodbye?
Yeah. I love this episode so much. I could talk about it over and over again. Also, just going back to Lucas and Edie, it's really nice just seeing him talk to, another woman and kind of, you know, give her, certain looks again. And I'm not saying it necessarily is the same way that he was with Elizabeth, but I'm just really happy for him that, he's maybe starting to catch feelings or be attracted to another woman again. And I really do like Edie. I think they're great together, and I hope we get to see more of them work together.
Same. All right, Hearties. Well, I think that wraps up our review of When Calls the Heart, Season 12, Episode 7, Dance the Night Away. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about the episode and any hopes and predictions you have for the rest of the season in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of our reviews for the rest of the season, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next week. We love y'all. Bye!
Love you. Bye!